Alright guys, today we're answering one big question that's been flooding my comments. Is the X-Shot Piston Pump really worth $90? Now, I'm not talking about the budget blasters or those stock elite lines. I'm talking about a pro-level blaster that claims to bring serious performance straight out of the box. I've ran this thing in multiple battles and honestly, I'm shocked how it performs. But before I spoil anything, let's break it down piece by piece. So, what is the piston pump exactly? It's part of the X-Shot Pro line by Zuru, designed for competitive level Nerfers, the kind of players who care about accuracy, consistency, rate of fire, and reliability. The retail price is around $90 right now, which will make some people instantly raise an eyebrow. This is because it's not pocket change, but when you look at what you're actually getting, a motorized blaster with premium build quality and 40 half-length darts, paired with a mag, it starts to make a little more sense to me. The first time I picked it up, the ergonomics surprised me. The grip looks big, it is big, but it actually feels pretty balanced and it feels comfortable. The priming mechanism feels pretty smooth, especially because you're not the one actually priming it. And the overall design, while a bit questionable in terms of looks, does feel pretty professional. It's not your average toy store blaster. This thing's built for actual competitive play, and the plastic quality is far better than most things you will buy. Now let's talk about what really matters. How does it perform in the field? I've run the piston pump in multiple competitive battles such as BPOC, which include both outdoor matches and structured Nerf tournaments, and this thing absolutely delivers. It's got a consistent rate of fire and the accuracy is honestly way beyond what I expected. You can hit your target at a medium to long range without having to lob darts. The power feels on par with, or even slightly above, a lot more expensive blasters like the Harrier. However, I would argue that which one is better also depends on how you're using it and in what you're using it in. Now, here's the kicker. The piston pump keeps up even during rapid fire engagements. What I mean by this is that it can fire pretty fast. I've been out firing players running setups that cost way more just because the combination of rate of fire and accuracy it gives you allows you to have a very unique play style and a lot of control over fights. It's not just me either. Several of my teammates have also been running piston pumps in major Nerf tournaments such as BPOC, and the feedback has been mostly incredible. Now, to be transparent, one of my teammates at BPOC did experience a few jams during a high-intensity round. That said, I've personally never had a jam with mine, even with thousands of darts fired. That tells me that maintenance and dart quality are probably the biggest factors here. With the right setup and clean darts, the piston pump runs smooth and consistent. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the price. Is the piston pump really worth the $90? Honestly, yeah, it is. Most blasters in this price range either lack the motorized firing which you get from this AAB, don't have as good accuracy, or come with cheaper materials such as the X-Shot long shot, which although it is in the lower price category, overall you're not going to get something of this quality for $90. The piston pump manages to feel premium while also performing like a top-tier primary blaster while coming out of Target store shelves. You could easily spend the same amount or more on something that looks cooler but underperforms in actual gameplay. This thing gives you real value, especially if you're serious about competitive Nerf or just want something reliable for every battle. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the greatest blaster you can buy, and it's definitely got a few issues. However, it's very good for its price point, and you got to consider that a lot of the other competitive blasters, especially people running them in tournaments, are going to be spending like $400, $500 to get the equipment they want. My Harrier only cost $200, but after all the parts were included, it could be $300 or more. So if you're coming from a modded rival or an upgraded Nexus Pro, the piston pump is going to easily hold its ground, and it's going to go far past that in my opinion, because out of the box it's already dialed in with insane accuracy. At BPOC, when I chronographed mine, one of them hit the same FPS every single time with nitro shots and a Kuriaka barrel, along with a B-car, which is insane in my opinion for a blaster that comes stock out of the store. Now let's talk about one of the biggest reasons competitive players are excited about this thing. It's easily moddable. The internals are clean, accessible, and well laid out for an AAB. If you know your way around modding, you can tweak voltage, swap motors, or upgrade darts. Although it might take a bit of extensive knowledge in my opinion, some of these mods actually mean that the blaster starts coming with some issues which I don't like. However, running it stock or running it with just a few mods like the ones on my channel, which are very easy to do without being intrusive, just make it go to another level. I've seen a few builds out there that push this thing to some insane levels, and if you're someone who loves tinkering, this blaster gives you room to experiment without needing to start from the scratch, because making an AB from scratch or modding something like a Stampede is going to be insanely hard, in my opinion. So how does this actually stack up against the competition? Alright, so compared to the Harrier, currently it's not going to be as customizable in the long run. You can't like adjust FPS as easily. However, you do have a lot of options to do that. But for stock performance, it's right there. Compared to something like the Dart Zone Mark III, the piston pump just feels like a more refined, smoother operation, less recoil, easier handling, just overall more solid product, like with a more premium finish. It's faster than most manual prime blasters, and it's more reliable than most over $100 options. If I had to rank it, I'd say it's one of the best stock blasters I've ever used in actual competitive play. It's the kind of blaster that gives you confidence going into a match. You know you can rely on it, and for me, that's worth every dollar. So as a final verdict, the X-Shot Piston Pump absolutely earned its $90 price tag. It performs like a high-end blaster. It's accurate, fast, dependable, and even moddable. Sure, there's going to be blasters that look flashier. There's going to be things that deliver consistency and reliability that are better than the X-Shot blaster. However, for the price point, it delivers in consistency and reliability in actual battles in a way I have never seen another $90 blaster do. If you're serious about Nerf, whether you're playing tournaments or even weekend wars, this is one thing you'll want in your loadout. I'm one of the best Nerfers in the world, and I've traveled around the world to play competitive tournaments, including in places such as Singapore, and I'm telling you, this thing performs. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite pull level blaster, and subscribe for more competitive Nerf insights. I'll see you on the field.